The question of slaughtered meat without tasmiyah. Tasmiyah means saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We pronounce the name of God, Allah, before we slaughter an animal for the purpose of our consumption. This is a requirement that has been mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-An'am, the 6th Surah, verse 121. The Almighty says, "And do not eat from that over which the name of God was not pronounced, for it is a transgression. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ فَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ." There are other verses which tell us that we cannot eat the meat of an animal that is dead, the meat, the flesh of carrion. But in this particular verse, it has been mentioned that we have to pronounce the name of God and then slaughter the animal. The other aspect of mention in the same verse that is repeated in the Quran at least 4 times is that we cannot eat from the flesh of the meat of an animal on which the name of anyone other than God was pronounced. In other words, there were people who used to ascribe partners with God, and they used to mention the names of those partners instead of the name of God for the animal to be slaughtered. The Almighty has mentioned clearly that all such animals, even if they are otherwise halal, they are condemned and they are haram. In this particular verse, the Almighty is clarifying that it is not just that you should not pronounce the name of anyone, any deity, any god other than God while slaughtering a halal animal, but he's also saying positively that his name should be pronounced while an animal is getting slaughtered. So this is another requirement, and therefore we cannot eat the meat of an animal that has been slaughtered without God's name being pronounced. However, there are people who believe that if the meat of the animals that have been slaughtered by the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians, they are given to us for consumption, we'll just say Tasmiyah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim at the beginning of our process of eating, and it will be okay. They believe that the verse is actually saying that we should eat from the meat on which we mention the name of God, whether it is done at the time of the animal getting slaughtered or whether it is done at the time when we are eating. If there are people who are in the habit, in the process of slaughtering animals without mentioning any names, neither the name of God nor the name of anyone other than God, then all that you need to do is to just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before eating, and it will make your meat kosher, acceptable, halal for you to eat. The verse that we have seen mentions that towards the end, that those who do not pronounce the name of God on their animals, they are doing something which is a transgression. Of course, this point of view would then also imply that whenever we eat from food, anything, and we do not say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, what we are eating is going to be a sin, a transgression. This is a famous difference of opinion between the earlier jurists of Muslims, and this is something which we witness even today, more particularly when we go to non-Muslim countries where halal meat is not always available. What should one do? Well, one should look at the arguments of both sides and should go for the understanding which makes more sense and is more convincing. Obviously, at times it can happen that you may not be able to come to a clear understanding and conclusion. Well, in that case, it is better to be careful rather than to do something which might carry a doubt. So although there are two different points of view, it seems that the first point of view, both from the point of view of arguments as well as from the point of view of it being more safe and careful, it seems that it is the one that needs to be followed.